Hey, what's up, everybody at ComicWow? This is Gigi coming at you from San Diego Comic-Con International 2015. I am very excited to be joined right now by Tim Seeley, creator of a lot of different books, as we were talking about before we got involved. So why don't you tell all of our fans at ComicWow first what the most recent project you're working on right now is?
Yeah, so I'm a writer and a penciler, but I've mostly just been writing lately. So the most recent stuff is I work on Grayson at DC. I do a book called Sundowners, a Dark Horse. And then I just finished up, and it just got published, the Art of the Masters of the Universe book from Dark Horse, which is like a big 350-page compilation of all the cool old stuff from Masters of the Universe, a bunch of new stuff, you know, behind-the-scenes art, and you know, from the original movie, from the toys, from the cartoon, from everything. So, and that's just came out in April and is all over the convention. So it's pretty cool to be part of the He-Man thing. So I was such a nerd for it when I was a kid.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. Completely. So speaking of cons, estimated, let's just stick with San Diego. How many San Diego Comic-Cons have you attended?
This is my 13th.
Whoa, 13.
Yeah.
So let's talk a second about this booth that we're in right now. Like, people don't realize, like, I've been to a lot of cons, there's not usually this sweet little VIP setup everywhere.
So room like this, yeah, Dark Horse is like the most, without a doubt, like the most considerate and like very professional comic book company. So I mean, they set you up with this like little interview room, and they bring you drinks, and you sit and yeah, it's amazing. No one else does it.
You're P. Diddy here, basically.
So, I know, and like you know that if you were in any other industry, this would be standard, but only Dark Horse brings you to the VIP green room with the nice cushiony seats and yeah.
Like, let's rewind back to 13 years ago. What was that first con like?
I mean, the thing is, well, if the show was like it was now, when it was 13 years ago, I would have probably run home and I would never have come back. But it was, you know, same place but much smaller. I can't believe that this is old now because it seems like it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, it was a totally different sort of vibe, and it was busy. It was still the biggest show, but nothing like this. And you could kind of feel, though, that I think it was around like 2005, 2006. I remember everyone sitting in a bar going, this thing is gonna get huge. Like we're not tapping the bare surface of this iceberg. Like this is gonna, and we were all right. 10 years later, it's just kind of a crazy, swirling abomination of a show.
Overwhelming, to say the least. We talk all the time about people say, oh, I'd like to do that once in my life. I'd like to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I don't think they realize just the experience. Getting here alone, ComicWow viewers, as we were trying to get to our interview with Tim today, just getting around the convention center itself is like, you might as well be on Segways or Heelys or something.
It's insane. And it's, I mean, they do set, the fact that they managed to keep this from basically degenerating into a riot is amazing. Yeah. So, I mean, it's still just, you try not to get frustrated when you're walking through and you're like, oh, everybody's standing around photographing a damn stormtrooper again, and you can't get through it. All you want to do is drop kick the stormtrooper, but you know you can't. So it's like, and then you realize that that's a moment that just went through your mind, where it's like, I want to drop kick a stormtrooper or a Jigglypuff. What the hell has my life come to? But yeah, it's weird. It's surreal. So
now, of the work that you've done thus far and the things that you named for us, is the work that, if you had to pick a piece that you were most proud of, is it also the one that you had the most fun creating, or are they two different answers?
Oh, it's always, I mean, for me, it's two different, because for me, the most fun is just writing like Batman or like the toys I play with as a kid and like letting them just sort of go crazy. And writing that stuff is really fun for me. It doesn't take me that long. The stuff I'm probably most proud of is the stuff that's super hard for me to write. Like my series Revival that I do in Image, so hard to write, takes me forever. It ends up with me pulling hair and losing hair, but I think it's the thing I'm most proud of, and that seems to also be true kind of when you make your own stuff, like to create your own stuff. It tends to be more personal. It tends to be, and you're creating the entire world rather than just a piece of it. It's harder. It's just much harder, and you're controlling the business side of it. When you do something for Marvel or DC, and you don't own it, it tends to be just easier because you're like, I know what Batman sounds like. I'm not going to doubt. I don't have to question, what should I do with Batman? I know what Batman's like. I don't have to do. So that stuff tends to be, so it's always different for me. Not that I'm not proud of the stuff I do there, and I genuinely like almost all the stuff I've done for Marvel and DC, but it's not, it doesn't,
You thrive on the challenge. Yeah.
I don't know if I thrive on the challenge. But
well, you appreciate when you rise above the challenge.
Yeah, or just do something that, pushes me in a different direction or makes me write in a style that's not natural right out of my head, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, for the con itself, is there any time that you get to, like, something non-work related? Now, I know the whole time you're here, you're working, obviously. But is there any specific part that you look forward to? Is it the cosplayers and seeing things? Is there anything you like to get a little time to sneak away to enjoy yourself?
I mean, my favorite thing to do is just go out with my buddies and get a drink, because that's one of the cool
I think I saw that on your Twitter today, maybe.
Probably.
You can see me later at any bar.
Yes, definitely. I mean, because that's one of the things, having done this 13 years, and I've worked in this industry for 14 years, that everybody in comics knows each other. All the creators are friends at some point. We've all worked together. We've all been at some dinner with each other. So this is the ultimate show to catch up with all your buddies.
It's a reunion.
So it's a reunion. Yeah, it's like a high school reunion every year.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to just go out and get a drink and talk some shit. It's awesome. That's my favorite.
Sounds like a good time. That's kind of our favorite part too at ComicWow. I wish we could show you guys all that part on camera, but we have to leave a little integrity for ourselves as ComicWow people. But speaking of Twitter, like I just mentioned, can you let everybody know exactly where they can follow you on any form of social media and find out the latest happenings besides on ComicWow?
Sure. I mean, I'm on Facebook and stuff, but I rarely check. But if you want to ever interact, I'm on Twitter. Hackin' Tim Seeley is my Twitter handle. I have a website at timseeleyart.blogspot.com. But I'm really easy to find on the internet. Like, you just put my name in and you can get to me. My email address is all over the place. I'm far too searchable, and I spend too much time on the internet. But
no privacy for Tim Seeley, apparently.
I know, it's the worst. But yes, please feel free to chat with me on Twitter and ask me questions, and I will always get to them eventually.
All right, well, thanks so much for making the time for us here today. I mean, clearly it's a nice, comfortable spot to wait for us, so I'm glad we could make it happen. So for ComicWow, I'm Gigi, this is Tim Seeley, and you're welcome.